ThatGreatBusinessShow.com is brought to you by De Facto Shaving Oil, the best anyone can get. Made in Ireland, sold worldwide.
Welcome to ThatGreatBusinessShow.com, Episode 8 of Ireland's Best Business Podcast, recorded on the 12th of November 2020. Joining Team GBS this week are what I think are the world's finest biscuits, made in Ireland and now branching into new products. Waterford's The Lismore Food Company leads the sector with its tray fancy packaging, showing just how important visuals are in selling. Founder Marco Dwyer says that a small business processing just 10 invoices a day can save 5 hours a week using his BigRedCloud accountancy software. This could mean a saving of up to €13,000 per year, and Mark is here to justify that claim. Another great name, another great business, GetTheShifts, was going at 100 miles an hour, hit the COVID wall, trundled around at about 5 miles an hour for a while. But the Shift employee platform is building up speed rapidly again. Founder Hannah Rickson will tell us about sending her candidates back to school. And we love a bit of Did You Know? So, did you know that those who had high levels of stress and a belief that it would kill them had a 30% higher likelihood of dying than those with high stress levels but a positive attitude towards stress? Our favourite psychology professor explains it to us in detail. As always, we're here for you. We are Team GBS. And yes, we've got the mo on the Great Business Show. Yes, we have the momentum because you're all telling your pals, workmates, classmates, Zoom mates, there's a new one, about Ireland's best business podcast, where we do business differently, where we do business better with an added dash of fun. So keep telling everyone to subscribe to the podcast so we'll be on their phones anytime they like. And then they can always say they're going for a walk with Jamie Heaslip and Conal O'Moran, and not a word of a lie. And speaking of Jamie, let's hear from former pro rugby player, entrepreneur, investor, podcaster, and world-class co-host Jamie Heaslip.
I thought I'd pick one from your era.
Hang on a second now. You haven't heard my question yet.
Oh, God.
This is your 8th appearance on the Great Business Show. Somebody told me that is significant. What's so special about the number 8, Jamie Heaslip?
You caught me on the hop now. I don't know what to say. I don't know if this is a loaded question.
No, that's all. I just not everybody knows about the number 8 and Jamie Heaslip. Not everybody watches rugby.
That used to be my former number, but the great thing about rugby is that your name is not on the jersey, so you merely get a chance to take it off the peg, try and live in a better place, put it back on, and hopefully I did that.
There's some lovely videos up on the Twitter account.
I thought I did that 95 times for Ireland.
Did you?
Yeah, so hopefully...
that's some claim. I love that.
Yeah, you never know. I mean,
we normally ask Jamie for his weekly words of wisdom to start us off. However, this morning, I was up early, as I do, and saw you tweeting about one of the world's great business women. Dolly Parton, net worth $600 million. What brought Dolly to mind?
I like getting inspiration or, different points of views and things, and that's why I chose her. But I'm not going to go with Dolly's from this morning. I'm actually going to go, and just for you know what it is figure out who you are and then do it on purpose. That's what Dolly Parton says. But I thought I'd take one from your era. Well, it could be your era. I don't know. Right?
The 1920s.
Yeah. So, don't fear failure. Not failure, but low aim is the crime. In great attempts, it is glorious even to fail.
And I would agree. Who said that?
Bruce Lee.
Well, here's a little bit of history for you.
Is that your era?
Well, I did do karate once.
No way.
Yeah. You're looking at a killer. I could actually, with just listen to that.
Not just with your words, but just with your actions.
That'll kill you. So there you go. Now remember, that Great Business Show, your business sanity clause between now and Christmas couldn't happen without the backing of that great shaving oil company, De Facto. Based in Mayo, you can buy their world-winning shaving oil online anytime at defactoshave.com. And incredibly, one bottle can last over a year. Now, to our first interview. He trained at RADA, London's prestigious drama school, worked in theatre production in London's West End before returning to Ireland to be, for a while, an estate agent. And of course, that's the perfect position for a pivot to becoming co-founder of one of the country's finest biscuit makers. Ken Madden is one of the self-styled 3 biscuiteers behind the Lismore Food Company, whose very, and I mean this, fancy bickies and bicky boxes you'll see in the very best food shops. But now they've added a brand new range with jams, chutneys, chocolates, vinegars and cordials, joining the famous biscuits. Hi, Ken.
Hi, Conal. How are you? And Jamie? Thanks for having me.
You had me at jam. You can do no wrong today.
No, they get me in the biscuits. I'm such a fan. I have been a fan for many years since I first got to know them. Ken, are you a biscuit maker or are you now a brand?
I would suggest that I'm certainly both, for sure. Firstly, a biscuit maker. I have quite a sweet tooth, I have to say so, which reflected the first range of biscuits that we brought out, five wonderful sweet biscuits, which took us by surprise, perhaps a little bit, and took all of our customers and retailers a pinch by surprise with the delicious flavour and the gorgeous packaging.
And yes, it is. But it wasn't quite that straightforward. I mean, you must have seen that little niche in the market. Or you must have seen a gap, something. Well, you just didn't wake up on a Tuesday and say, we'll make this.
How does someone go from one of the best, if not the best drama schools, to auctioneer, to making unbelievable biscuits? Like, that's not a normal, linear journey in my book, anyway.
I think it's a chapter in the real entrepreneur. You know, there's many more to come, I guess, along the way. You know, but certainly, how did we arrive at biscuits? Well, it was quite simple in many ways. There are 3 of us in the business. My brother Owen, who is trained at Ballymaloe, chef at Ballymaloe. My partner Beth Ann, who was also Ballymaloe trained. But Beth Ann was, for 10 years, the head chef at Lismore Castle in County Waterford. And on occasion, I would go in with her and make afternoon tea for the family and for the guests that would come from around the world. It was very smart and very posh and very beautiful.
That's owned by the Devonshires, isn't it?
It certainly is, yeah. The Duke of Devonshire and Duchess and their family, and a really wonderful family and very generous and hospitable family.
Very posh.
Well, yes, at times, but they're a very normal, lovely family as well.
And they love your bickies.
Yes, very much so. And so we would do afternoon tea and a whole sort of table full of beautiful confections. And many times we thought, you know what, there's room for a beautiful Irish brand of biscuits, very well made with pure ingredients, beautifully packaged, and something that perhaps would sit anywhere in Ireland or abroad. And so that led us to the starting line.
So let's talk about the packaging. Who's coming up with the concepts? Where are you getting them made? They really are beautiful.
Thank you very much. Well, the packaging was a key element to the entire project right from the start. We wanted to create something that was distinctly Irish, but not twee. We wanted something that was, reflective of modern Ireland, something that would sit anywhere in the world and people would be impressed by it and pick it up and look at it, perhaps read what's on the back or whatever it might be. So Beth Ann and I are very, very passionate about art and culture and texture and architecture, and all those sort of elements have come together in this packaging. And we wanted to stand out from the pack as well. So we would often go into the stores, even the smarter stores, and look at the shelves, look down the aisles, and often everything's sort of blended on the shelves. And we thought, we're going to stand out. We're not going to blend in with the rest. And so that led us to the hot orange and gold, which sort of is our signature now, and of course has reflected now in the new hamper boxes, which you've seen as well.
And we're going to put those up on Twitter. We'll show them to the world as well. They are, again, I think, Jamie,
they're
you
amazing.
Are most impressed.
I'm blown away with. So you started with 5 biscuits and you grew to 12 products pre-COVID. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
And then obviously you expanded that range. So I'm curious on how you go through that, or more so, why you go through that process of innovating the whole time and how you do it. And then when COVID hits, instead of you guys kind of going, right, let's lock down, you go, no, we're going to expand. We're going to go after even more.
Well, that's exactly what happened. And you know, like every other business in the country for sure, and everybody in the country for that matter, you know, those weeks in March and April were really difficult, and everybody sort of kept the head down for a few weeks. But then we emerged, you know, with some great ideas. We came out of it really strongly. And we decided that it was time to sort of broaden our range and broaden our appeal. We were very keen on bringing beautiful hampers to the market. And we knew there was an opportunity for our products in terms of gifting, but we never really offered a gifting opportunity. One thing we wanted to do with the gifting opportunity was to create a full range of Lismore products. So in most hampers that you find, there's lots of other products, you know, a combination of lovely products, and they're really beautiful.
That's how you would have come across Lismore a lot in like these beautiful products, and there's the biscuits right there, you know? Yeah.
So, yes, absolutely. So, but in our case, we wanted a full range of highly branded, really beautiful, great tasting Lismore products that we could fill our beautiful hampers with. So it was, you know, in many ways, what we're doing is quite unique in Ireland. I don't know perhaps of another company or another business that have, certainly in food and drink anyway, that have beautiful hampers laden and filled with their own range of products.
So who's advising you? Have you got a mentor, or is this just the three of you sitting around a table going, yak, 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 this is nice, this is a good idea?
Yeah. We've had many mentors over the time, including the two of you sitting across the table. We listen into your...
Very good at eating.
Jamie's words of wisdom, and then Connell's words of encouragement from day one. We're a very open sort of trio, really, you know, and we never have the blinkers on. We're always listening to what people have to say, and we're encouraged by what they have to say and the feedback that they give.
But you're bigger than that. I mean, what you are producing is, again, I'm sorry to go on about it, but it's quite exceptional.
Well, thank you very much. I mean, it's we try to aim for excellence in everything we do. We try to stand out from the pack in terms of what we do. And it is true, we have created something that's very special and that's very unique. And, you know, I know Irish people are very, very proud of our brand. And I think, you know, and it's perhaps something that, you know, certainly for the future, it does bode well. It does give us a great, perhaps, export opportunity, and you know, something we can certainly consider.
Did you know, because we're seeing it in our pubs, for example, in terms of gifting hampers and how they are taking off. Are you surprised with the uptick for the beautiful boxes? I know, again, I'm doing that thing on radio or on podcast.
Pointing to it.
I'm pointing to this beautiful, gorgeous box. Like what, and the presentation inside is amazing. Are you surprised with the uptick, or is that a trend that you saw ticking up anyway over the years? In many ways, I'm not surprised, and you know, the Irish are very, very generous people. They're very, very supportive people. You'll have seen it on the field many times, and Connell will have seen it in his lifetime in his media career. The Irish are very generous. They're very supportive. They really get behind you and your business if it's right, and if they feel it's worthy of support. They're very discerning as well. So, you know, they're not just going to follow, you know, any old show, to be honest. I mean, you know, if you present yourself in the correct way, if you put something beautiful out there that they can come behind and be proud of, they will. And so to answer your question, in many ways, no, I'm not surprised that there has been this sort of swell towards what we're doing.
Tell me about the future, as in, where are you going to head with this? Because there are only so many of you, and you're not really interested in becoming a vast corporation, are you?
We're not. Look, there's huge opportunity for what we're doing. We will certainly, I think, you know, look to expand our range a little further in the springtime. What we're doing at the moment is perhaps leaning a little on the sweet side. And I know Beth Ann, who's back in Lismore, is more savoury minded than...
You better say that we would have had Beth Ann only for COVID, but we can't have anybody in the studio.
We certainly would, but here I am, and so I can wave the sweet flag for now, you know. No, I'm only kidding. We'll certainly look to bring more savoury elements into the range, and increasing that, obviously increasing our hamper offerings. But the opportunity for us, I think, on a global stage is enormous.
But can you supply it?
Yes, of course we can supply it. That's not, but it's certainly at the sort of in the category that we're in. We're certainly not in the major multiple category, if you like. We're not in that sort of area. We're in a more premium area, but there's a huge market for that, I think, and that has become, interestingly enough, even more prominent over the last year or two. People are buying more treats for themselves, but they're buying something a little more beautiful, something that feels really nice, something that tastes a bit better, and they don't mind paying a pinch extra for that.
Actually, just on that point, because you're talking a lot. I'm hearing a lot about like different textures and different sensations. How important is the presentation of the package, whatever the item is for you, and how much time do you spend on that after you get the taste and you get that nailed down?
We spend a huge amount of time on packaging, but we're doing that all the time. I can look at where we're sitting around here and I see a really interesting red and maybe a nice pale silver here, and we're watching all the time. We're looking at color, we're looking at texture. There's an interesting texture on your sweater that we're like, maybe that could, and all the time we're kind of watching, so our eyes are open, we're seeing what's out there. And so that's sort of a constant in our lives, and we love that. Obviously, Beth Ann particularly is a wonderful chef, and so she is cooking all sorts of interesting dishes. I'm very fortunate to be.
Are you the official taster?
Well, somebody's got to do it, and so I'm very lucky to be on that seat. So the new product development from our point of view is sort of continual, and it always
on
goes
that.
on.
I know you want a question or two there, Conal, but so you love doing new product development, and you said you've done maybe a little bit more sweet than savory, and that sounds like your taste buds one out there. But what are the items that you'd like to do or that are kind of coming down the pipeline?
Well,
without giving away
too much.
Yeah.
It's really interesting, actually, and we've learned this over the last number of years. People generally lean towards products that they're familiar with and tastes that they're familiar with. And that's really interesting. So when we brought out our initial range of biscuits, for example, 5 lovely biscuits, and we brought out some really interesting flavors within those 5. But included in that was the wonderful all butter Irish shortbread, just 3 ingredients.
I swear to God, you are so gorgeous.
You're literally salivating.
I am salivating.
and many other sort of interesting sort of flavors. You find that people feel a level of comfort in an all butter Irish shortbread, and they may go for that over the hazelnut, cinnamon and raisin, or the dark chocolate and cardamom. So that does lead you a little bit, and you learn as you go. And for example, with our 2 preserves, we have an Irish raspberry and an Irish blackcurrant preserves. Again, flavors that people are familiar with. But certainly in terms of taste, ours are...
start doing scones for me, because then you have me with the raspberry jam.
I'm going to ask you 2 final questions, if I may. One is, you better tell the world where it is, if they're available, and where to get your hampers. And secondly, and maybe in reverse order, what's your next big market that you want to conquer? Just answer that simply.
It appears to me as though, the US market is definitely waiting for our brand to touch down. There is no doubt about that. There is an captive Irish audience there who are looking for something that's really premium, that's really Irish, that sings of Ireland, but in a very beautiful way. And it's on the table here right now. And I think we have a great opportunity.
When will you do
to
that?
Access the US market.
This year, next year? We're hardly this year. Next year? 2 years?
I think within 2 years. It's interesting about America, and we've been a number of times, and we've been to the big shows there, and just to understand the mechanics of the American market.
It's a beast.
It is a beast. And somebody said a very wise thing to me about the American market. They said, Ken, the best way to crack America is to be brought there, not to go there.
Well, I'm going to introduce you to the Ireland Connecticut Business Council. You'll read all about it up on the blog for this show. They will be delighted to bring you into Connecticut, a premium state. Now, you better get your shout out, because Beth Ann will not love you anymore if you don't.
Where do you get them? Where do you get these gorgeous?
So the beautiful hampers, the beautiful new hot orange and gold hat boxes are available exclusively on our
what it's like.
website.
A hat box.
That's it. It is. It is a hat box. It certainly is. So, Jamie, when you're finished eating all the lovely treats inside with your lovely wife, by the way,
I get my top hat out.
Well, then you can store your top
your
hat.
rugby caps go in there.
And you can bring that to the races with you when you're heading for Ascot next June. You know, absolutely. So the full range and the beautiful new hat boxes and hampers are available at our website, which is thelismorefoodcompany.com. Our fabulous range of biscuits and confections are available throughout Ireland in all the sort of key stores and in your local food halls as well, dotted right around the country. And you'll find them as well in, certain locations in London and in Europe and in Asia and places like that.
Wow.
Next up, Connecticut, USA. That is Ken Madden, co-founder of Lismore Food Company. Thank you very much for joining us from Waterford on thatgreatbusinessshow.com.
Subscribe today to That Great Business Show on your favourite podcast platform, including Apple and Spotify.
Jamie and I keep a very close eye on who's following and subscribing to That Great Business Show. So a big team GBS shout out and a thank you to St. Patrick's Comprehensive School, a co-ed secondary school in Shannon, County Clare, that has just followed us on Team GPS on the Twitter account. And we'd love to see more schools following That Great Business Show so business students will get a real sense of what fun you can have in business. We won't mention the challenges to them just yet. Now, if our experience on the first 7 episodes of That Great Business Show is anything to go by, women are definitely more creative with their business names. We've had Linda Coogan's The Class of Wine, Roisin Callahan's events company Cogs and Marvel. They do the work and you do the marvelling. Kate Clark's Ugo.me, she was on last week. That was named after her toddler Hugo. And this week's business name winner, without a doubt, belongs to founder Hannah Rickson of GetTheShifts. Kind of naughty, actually. A clever moniker for her platform for shift-based employers and employees. Hannah was telling me that pre-COVID, her early stage company was going about 100 miles an hour, but like so many, hit the COVID speed bump, bringing her business speed down to 5 miles an hour. But now she's picking up momentum again and wants the world to know how to use her clever platform. Hang on, Jamie, because I want to introduce you to not just anybody. European Business Awards 2019 overall winner, Hannah Rickson. Now, Jamie.
Yay.
Well, with a name like GetTheShifts, and there's a rumour going around that you're on a hot date tonight.
I knew that was going to come back.
Can you explain yourself, please?
Which part, Jamie?
Well, I think the latter rather than the former, because we'll spend lots of time on the former then.
Oh, I have a hot date with a great, fantastic mystery man this evening. So, yeah.
Cadbury's milk tray man is turning up, is he?
Yeah, quite possibly. Well, I hope there's a suit involved. Yeah.
Hannah, tell us about the European Business Awards 2019 overall winner. That is some accolade.
It's amazing.
It was phenomenal. It was phenomenal.
How did you get it?
I suppose I applied, first of all.
But you had to win it.
I had to win it. I had to be interviewed by 5 European business leaders, part of a weekend in Warsaw this time last year when we were allowed to travel. Oh, whoa. It was a long process. It was about 3-month process. And then it culminated in this weekend in Warsaw. And I was sitting with a table of Irish businesses and we were all very excited. We were all rooting for each other. And as one award went and nobody won it, and there was, oh gosh. And then another one would be announced and nothing. Oh. And then the Irish ambassador was doing our particular category. And next thing, she was delighted to announce that it was an Irish business and our table erupted. And
I'd say there was a pint or two had that evening.
1 or 2, but I had actually gone on my own. So because I had thought there's no chance that we're going to win anything. This is going to be a lovely experience, but it's fine. So I had left my husband and children in our apartment in Warsaw and gone off. And I rang him excited saying, did you see it?
That's the mystery man.
I was going to say, I hope that's the mystery man, yeah.
Well, it depends.
What was your company, though? What kind of companies were you around?
So there was another recruitment company. There was an experiences company from Kerry. There was a couple of really big companies doing really, really amazing things. So the fact that we, little old us, took the prize was phenomenal, and it was amazing. And the fact that it was the Irish ambassador who was there, I kind of embarrassed myself asking her, did she have any Ferrero Rocher? But
perfectly good question to ask, and fair, I think.
I thought so, yes. But
I hope they had a gold Visa card to celebrate. Tell the world about what the company actually does do. GetTheShifts.
So what we do is we make employers' lives easier. And we make employees who want flexible working opportunities, we make their lives easier. And we do that in a number of ways. First of all, we make sure that every person who's registered with us is high quality, experienced. You know, that this whole industry has such a bad name. Temp staff has such a bad name over the years for just sending a body, and we're not into that. So we offer training, we do a huge recruitment process, and kind of at the end of it, if you've jumped through those hoops, we know that you're a good one. And we want to keep you. For our employers, we have 2,500 of these amazing people on tap, and they are looking for work and actively looking for work.
And that's, the type of people that you're like putting forward in this. Your gig economy before gig economy was a word, is that right?
Yeah.
What are the most? Just give us a sense of the most popular areas that you're putting people into.
So prior to COVID, it was hospitality, and you know, we were so busy in hospitality, we weren't even looking at other areas, which in hindsight hasn't been an ideal scenario. But at the time, you know, we were supporting all the gigs, concerts, festivals. We were doing the hotel staff, conferencing events. You mentioned a few people earlier. We were supporting them in their businesses. So it was phenomenally busy. We have had to do a massive pivot into other areas now. But where we see the uptake for these kind of staff are now in warehousing, packing, retail. Like, there's huge opportunities in those areas. So, and we have the people to fill them.
How long did it take when COVID hit? You know, because these kind of black swan events are rarely that rare with hindsight, right? But you take your learnings from it. How long before the new opportunities started popping up for you?
So very quickly we identified them, and I have to say, for COVID, for us, it was real time for looking in and looking at the company and seeing what we were doing right, what we weren't doing so right, and becoming really focused on, every single day we wake up and the customer is our main priority. What can we do to make the customer's life easier and better? And for our superstars as well, what can we do to make getting work easier and better? So software was a big part of that. So we developed this huge software platform where our clients have an app. Our superstars, we call our workers superstars, they have an app, and we have a web-based app as well. So our clients can browse and book staff 24/7 from their app.
Is it like
it's Tinder?
Like Tinder?
It's Tinder for work. Yes, it is. So
wow.
Yeah. So they can do that. They can see star ratings. They can see reviews. They can also see their shifts filling in real time. So they're getting constant updates about, you've ordered 5, 10, 15 staff. We've 12 now. So it's 80% full. It's 100% full. Yay, your shift is full. They have the contact details for those people. They can message them directly. If they want them to go to the back door instead of the front door, and that is 10 minutes before the shift starts, they can message them directly. And all of our superstars are getting push notifications.
And a question, you're serving the gig economy, which is a huge thriving, and you're able to flex with the different seasonal trends.
Yeah.
What are the barriers to entry for like other recruitment firms to come into this area or kind of step in your patch of grass, essentially?
So I suppose the fact that we are spending so much time on the quality of the staff member is a big one, but that's not a barrier to entry. So our big barrier is the software. Now, software is, you can replicate software, you can. but I don't know who would, because it's such a hard job. So, yeah, I have given a life and my natural hair colour to this software. So, but we have it done. It's fantastic. And one of the other pivots that we are really looking at is white labelling the software for a global market. Smart. So we are... Well, we are probably not alone, but to our research so far, we can't find a solution that offers a full service from literally the person applying for the job through to them booking in for their shift via GPS.
What would normally happen in other markets?
There's recruitment software and there's scheduling software, but never the twain shall meet. So we do the whole thing. So down to the person booking in via GPS for their shift. So.
This is sounding very exciting. So therefore, where are you going to head with it, or have you already headed somewhere with it?
No, and as I said to you a few years ago, world domination. That's where we're heading.
We've met before, just in case you wonder.
We have in another lifetime. So I think there are huge global opportunities: US, Canada, Australia, mainland Europe, and Britain.
And are you there? Are you on the bicycle getting there, or what are you doing?
So at the moment, we're looking for investment. So that's where we are. So we have to raise investment.
How much?
600,000. We'll get the white label and get us out there. And
is that where the money's all going, to develop the software platform?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's where it's going. So I think anyone developing software will know that there's been a lot of trips along the way, and there always is. But we have a team now, a development house that we're so happy with, and they're ready to come on the journey with us. So it's an exciting time.
Enterprise Ireland, are they behind you?
For now, we've stuck with the Leos, but we are going to Enterprise Ireland.
Which Leo, Claire?
Claire Leo.
You should better tell people that you are from...
I'm from Six Mile Bridge in County Clare.
Yes, lovely accent. I love it. It's soft.
Up the banner. But yeah, Clare Leo have been phenomenal. And literally when COVID hit, they picked up the phone to us.
I don't know. Maybe it was just blind ignorance on my behalf. But since starting this show, the weight that the different Leos around the country pull is insane.
It is.
It's huge.
I've worked with them for a long time.
The value they give companies is unbelievable.
Yep. You can go to them just willy-nilly, just walk in the door and say, I'd like to talk to you about starting a business, and they'll talk to you.
They will, but they're so clever. The people that are working there are so clever. They're so shrewd. They're on it. They're innovative. They're exciting. Yeah. I'm part of a pilot, actually, that the Leo is running at the moment called Tech 4.0. And it's running in Limerick and Clare at the moment, and it is to get people with innovative, exciting businesses in Tech 4.0 to come forward. And basically it's a competition, and they'll give you another 25,000 towards development at the end of it. So if you're successful. So it's great.
So go back to your 600,000, because we'd like to help you raise that.
Fantastic.
Do you need matching funds with that, or do you need the straight 600 from a group of investors or investors?
A group of investors. So whether we go 50-50 with Enterprise Ireland and investors, or
what type of investor are you looking for?
Someone that will add value. I think.
What's the value add though you're looking for?
I think the value add is strategic global growth.
I have an idea. Just crossed my mind.
You get a look in your eye.
There's a pal of mine called Anne Herity. And Anne, you may have seen, has just sold her
Anne's done
company
pretty well recently.
Just recently. And she just happens to know something about the recruitment area.
She certainly does.
And we will send a copy of this to Anne, because she's an old pal. And we'll just see. You never know.
You never know.
But I'm sure there are many other people asking Anne for lots of other things. So let's put it wide out there. Ideally, it's what we call smart money. You're looking for smart money, somebody who will bring that something extra.
Yes.
Where are you going to knock on doors in the UK, US, Germany, anywhere?
I'm going to knock on doors wherever I can knock on doors.
Does it matter, just out of curiosity with the different markets, what's the biggest, is it as straightforward as biggest population, biggest gig economy, or is it that simple?
Yeah, it really is. I think the gig economy, the figures in the US are so huge. The figures in Britain are huge. I think 9.3 people are employed on a very part-time basis in the gig economy, so 9.3 million. Sorry, 9.3 people.
Exactly.
Yes, I'm very exact like that. So that's a huge starting point. And then to go, the platform can be brought to contractors and people who are looking for more part-time kind of contracting work as well. There's a huge opportunity there.
How did you get into this?
I had another company called Last Minute Minders, and this was a pivot from that. So I suppose my background's in hospitality. My dad was a publican, and we were behind bars from when we couldn't even see over the bar.
Rephrase that. You weren't behind bars. No, honestly.
No, absolutely not. No, that was when the bar was closed.
No,
I'm not
behind
convinced.
bars.
I think it was perfectly legal back then. I remember being in my auntie's pub. I must have been 7 or 8, and they had me cleaning the glasses because of my small hands. I keep saying it to my 2-year-old. She doesn't quite get it yet, but I was like, no.
She will. But we used to stand on the mixer, the mixer crates.
Yeah.
We used to stand on those to reach the taps. So, yeah.
And the famous pivot happened.
Mm-hmm.
So how quickly is the next pivot going to happen in terms of getting abroad? Okay, 600,000. You get your 600,000. How quickly can you get there?
So,
like everything in software, you have to do it yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're thinking Q3 2021.
Good. Okay, well, we're going to keep an eye on that. And big shout out now. Anybody who wants to find you will find you where?
GetTheShifts.com and on all the usual social media channels.
And the app?
And the app is downloadable from the App Store.
Get the Shifts.
Yeah, Get the Shifts. Superstar, Get the Shifts for a client.
So anybody who's trying to use the service as in to pay you for this wonderful service will find you there. Perfect.
Yes, please do pay us for this wonderful service. Yeah.
Hannah Rickson of Get the Shifts. Enjoy your night out tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Looking forward to
Any
it.
ideas?
None. My children are at home. That's all that matters.
That's
all that matters. Yeah.
So thanks very much for joining us on That Great Business Show, and please come back to us and we will certainly drive as much as we can trying to raise that cash, because you are now Team GBS, That Great Business Show.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's all go, let Cursey know on thatgreatbusinessshow.com. This could be your ad on That Great Business Show.
And as always, remember That Great Business Show is your business sanity clause between now and Christmas, and it couldn't happen without the backing of that great shaving oil company De Facto. They're based in Mayo, and you can buy their world-winning shaving oil online anytime at defactoshave.com. I use it, I love it, and Jamie told me he uses it.
I do. My once a week shave.
You didn't use it today, I can see that.
No, I use it on Sunday, but don't worry, I'll be using it
before it goes to mass.
I'll be using it tomorrow before the game, because I'm on the telly box tomorrow.
That Great Business Show.
What small business wouldn't like to save up to €13,000 a year? And that's every year. Well, according to our next guest, a small business processing just 10 invoices per day will save 5 hours a week using his BigRedCloud software. He says that if the business owner was to do this work himself or get a bookkeeper to do it, it would cost that €13,000 a year. Mark O'Dwyer has been running his business for a quarter of a century and was one of the early adopters of putting the business up into the cloud. So in 2012, he changed his original business from a name of Big Red Book to the Big Red Cloud. Mark, you're some salesman.
Thanks, Connell. I saw myself getting on here anyway.
I know, you and me, Mark, we go back a long way.
We do, Jamie.
We go back to 2015.
That's correct.
Mark.
That's when our love affair started. When you presented us with the BigRedCloud logo on the front of the Leinster jersey.
You better all explain that, because there are a lot of people. First of all, it's 2015. That's even further back than you know.
In a nutshell, firstly, I used to play rugby, right? And back in 2015, Bank of Ireland, I don't believe they do it anymore, and I don't know why they don't do it, but Bank of Ireland used to give for the Derby games, I believe it was, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it was, yeah, for the
big European game.
The big games, they'd give the match day sponsorship on the jersey to a Irish SME. And Mark's company won one year, and they were right on the middle of it. And
I remember well. It was actually a brilliant idea, a brilliant sponsorship.
It was unbelievable, because it grew. It gave such awareness to companies like what Mark's company does in terms of that B2B space, which isn't traditionally heavy in the marketing potentially, but we'll get around to that. But they actually gave you the numbers, didn't they, in terms of the value of that?
It was unbelievable. I mean, it was worth maybe €70,000 in advertising. It was televised to 2.5 million people because it was on Sky. Leinster won 50 points to 5, I think it was, against Castra.
Was that your favourite part of it?
Well, the fact I think that there was an impression by the Castra players that they thought the Leinster players on the day were bigger because we had big written on the chests, and it was literally great. You guys like your size coming at them and you had big on it. It was kind of, subconscious kind of, oh my God, this guy's actually bigger than he actually is. But
tell me this, Mark, how did you arrive into accounting?
I think there are, like me, most entrepreneurs are accidental entrepreneurs. So they get made redundant, they decide they're going to set up a business, or they're plodding along in their job and they get bored and they decide they're going to set up a business. In my case, I had a marketing and sales background, and I just had a really good accounting teacher at the time. And when I set up my business 28 years ago, I ran aground using Word documents and Excel spreadsheets to do my accounts, and I tripped myself up. It's all fine and well in the early days of business when you've got a handful of invoices, and then you get part paid and you're trying to put statements out on Excel. It trips you up, and it tripped me up. And I said there had to be an easier way. So I then started selling accounting software because I needed an accounting package. And I then got introduced to the owners of the Big Red Book in 2000. It was a firm of accountants that had set up an accounting product called Big Red Book. Simple and easy to use for the business manager, but complicated enough for the accountant. And at the end of the meeting, I liked the business so much I bought it.
And what made you go, oh, I'm having this?
The ease of use for the business owner, and not coming from an accounting background, I knew that's what business owners needed. Something that was easy to use, that didn't take up much of their time, and enable them get on with what they were good at, which is running their business.
And then, sorry, Colin, before you come in on this, right? Because I'm there going, so I now, things are falling into place with me, Mark, in terms of why you see obviously the value in marketing, even in the B2B space. And you do a lot of B2C type, or have done B2C type stuff like what we talked about. Can you give people a sense of the value of the consumer-facing marketing that you've done, that it's done to your business, even though it's kind of a B2B platform? And my second question is the cloud. Try and explain to people what the cloud is, because there are a lot of people out there in the SME world who are they're scared of the cloud. They don't know, they don't understand it. They don't understand data servers. They think they have to have their own servers, all that sort of thing. What it's meant for your business.
Okay, so the first question you asked, we have a hub and a spoke model. Okay, what is the hub and spoke? You know what a wheel is. So the middle of the hub in our world is an accountant, and the spokes are the small businesses. So we have to educate the circumference or the diameter of the wheel, i.e. the small business, is about our product. And then we also have to market to the accountants to let them know our product is there in order to help them to help their customers. And the customers and the accountants can both use our product. That's the beauty of it. So we do that brand awareness type marketing, like we did with the Bank of Ireland, like we did with the back of the Pro 14 rugby referees. And that really sinks our brand into the mind of the consumer, so that when they're out there and they're setting up a business and they go to their accountant, because generally they go to an accountant as the first person to go to, a bank and an accountant, and the accountant says, I want you to get BigRedCloud. They'll say, BigRedCloud, BigRedCloud. Oh, BigRedCloud. I've seen it on the back of the Pro 14 rugby referees. So that's how the marketing kind of goes on, and that's how we drive it. And we try and drive relevant traffic to our website to take out a free trial. Because no point having the faff up there because you're just spending money with Google and other people, and you're going through that to try and get the right people. As a result of driving the right traffic, we have a 55% conversion rate from free trial to paying customer, because we're driving the right people. So the reason 45% aren't necessarily buying is A, maybe we're not the product for them.
Yeah.
B, their accountant is actually advising them to get something else, which is something I'd like you to ask me about later on, because I have a bee in my bonnet about that.
Good salesman.
And then to go on to your second question, because I haven't forgotten that, is the cloud. Explain the cloud. The cloud essentially is your computer sitting in a data center somewhere in the world. Our cloud happens to sit on Microsoft, the Azure platform, one of the most secure platforms in the world, got the highest security ranking of any data center in Europe, and it actually sits in Dublin. And it's just a room the size of a rugby pitch, but then there's multiple rooms and there's thousands and thousands of servers. And our data and your data, our customers' data, is held on one PC in that, but it's replicated to other PCs within that facility, other rooms within that facility. And then if that goes down, it's replicated to Amsterdam. If Amsterdam goes down, it's replicated to Hong Kong. So,
but how transformative has it been for your business? So much so you changed the name. So, but in terms of the business, doing the things that you can now do with it that maybe you couldn't do before. Because I'll give you an example. I was talking to a husband and wife who owned a gardening centre company in the Midlands, and they had their own server, right? But when COVID hit and with the demand of people doing stuff at home, the server kept crashing because of the incoming traffic. So they'd literally have to turn it off, download the orders, fill them, turn it back on, and get new orders and turn it off.
Dear.
Right? And so then they said, okay, you know what we're going to do? We're going to buy a new server, another server. And then that's when they got actually introduced to the clouds, where you can, just like the gig workers beforehand, with the seasons, you can scale it up and scale it down. So I'm just wondering, for your business, because it's all online, how has it transformed it?
Yeah, so we can spin up more if we've got an influx of processing at the end of a month because everybody's putting out their statements. We can spin up more space and more capacity on the cloud servers within Azure and then spin it down as we need it. But in terms of how it's transformed the business, obviously we're gone to a recurring revenue model, which is phenomenal for the business. At the start, it wasn't, because we were getting €1,000 for Big Red Book, and then we went to getting €25 a month for BigRedCloud. So we'd a €975 hole in our cash flow, and we still had the same number of staff. So we had to address that. But in terms of now where we're at, we know at the start of the month how much money's coming in, and it's very, very dependable because our churn rate's very low. It's less than 8% per year. Wow. Because we have a very sticky product. But other than that, upgrades, reprogramming the software, putting further development in, we can roll that up at night when everybody's asleep, and then when they wake up in the morning, the latest version is there, as opposed to the old desktop product where you had to actually send out a CD and different companies were on different versions of your software. Now everybody on our cloud version is on the same software. I
hope to God you're not like Microsoft, who just shuts down my computer and to upgrade me all the time. I absolutely loathe that. Come here to me. The pair of you are a bunch of rugby lovies, because what you're saying about having used rugby to promote the brand. Did you ever consider using the most popular game in the country, GAA football?
Yes.
And just for radio, or everyone at home, Conal just turned around and gave me the finger.
and I'll vouch for that. Jamie is not lying. Yes, we consider all sorts of avenues. I guess I saw an opportunity on the back of the rugby referee's jersey with the Pro 14. It was a blank space, and I watch a lot of rugby, and the fact that the camera zones in for so long when the guys are scrumming down, you were getting a lot of airplay on the TV. You don't get the same airplay in the same scenario on a GAA pitch. I mean, don't tell me wrong, I love GAA.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense to me.
This man is sportsman. He does Ironmans for fun, and does everything in between. But question is, where is your market? So is it Irish specific? Is it UK Ireland? Is it Europe? Where are you and where do you want to be?
Okay, so currently up to 19 different countries access our software on a daily basis. That's not
fabulous.
Wow. It is fabulous.
It really is good.
Okay, so it's not that we've marketed to 19 countries. So don't want your listeners to think that we've marketed to 19 countries. It's the case there. Inward investment companies have set up in Ireland, need an Irish accounting product. So they buy BigRedCloud. Business owners, when they could travel, if they're on holidays, they want to see how their accounts are. So they might be in Portugal, they're looking up our software. So it's for a combination of reasons. In answer to your question, Jamie, our product will work in any Commonwealth country in the world, because it's the same accounting rules as the UK and Ireland. So there's 50 Commonwealth countries where our product will work. Slight change, and if we were to go to Australia, it's GST, General Sales Tax, instead of VAT, value added tax. So slight tweaking, but because it's English speaking and because the accounting rules are calculating the same, 3-in-1 bookkeeping calculations, our software will work there.
Wow. And so is the goal to get to 50 countries?
The goal is certainly to get to 50 countries if that's possible. So we set off just before we actually got on the Leinster Jersey in 2015 on a journey to list the company on the AIM in London. We were raising 5 million, and the idea is when we got that 5 million, we literally spent it on marketing, because you need to spend money on marketing to get a new product in a new country known. And we got to 4.1 million of the 5 million offers, and an Israeli company issued a profit warning. Everything went belly up, and the small cap investors went running for cover, and so we never completed that round. But that is the ultimate goal.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
You're going to go to AIM again? Would you ever do that again?
It's an interesting experience, Conal, I have to say. The investors on AIM are very eccentric. We were entertained in a very high-profile apartment in a very expensive area of London, where a maid served us breakfast, and my finance director, who had 4 pages of the 26-page presentation to do, I had 22 pages to do, sat oogling the artwork on the walls. And he says, and we came out after, he said, "Did you see all the artwork?" And I said, I had 22 pages of presentations about it while you were crunching toast. No, I didn't. So that guy actually put in a 1.2 million, I think, as an offer at the time. So somebody has suggested maybe the NASDAQ North in Sweden. It's the junior NASDAQ market. But we got 4 million last year, Connell, so we were okay for money.
Sage must love you. They'd love to buy you.
I don't know if they'd love to buy us. We've been a thorn in their side and we've competed against them very successfully for 27 years. But I just want to bring you back to
if the check would be big enough.
I want to bring you back to that question I
think I'm onto something here,
which is about the accountants. I have a bee in my bonnet, as most people do, that if we as a country are going to get ourselves out of this pandemic, we need to buy Irish. So I'm there putting my face forward to accountants to ask them to stop recommending products from New Zealand, America and the UK. I'm not going to mention the names because I'm not going to give them airway. You've mentioned one of them already. That's the one from the UK.
That's why he's fired up.
And that the business owners that are going to those accountants, when they're being recommended those foreign products, say, no, I want to buy an Irish product.
I will agree with you that it's going to be Irish SMEs that get us out of this hole, right? That's just the way it is. And you're right. I think we should, where possible, we should try and shop local. We should try and buy local, be it in the island of Ireland. In terms of, the different innovations in banking, particularly open banking.
Yeah.
Can you give us a sense of, we've talked about the kind of digital transformation with the cloud. What has open banking done for SMEs and companies like yourself?
Okay, so a thing called the PSD2 directive came in a couple of years ago. That's the Payment Service Directive 2, which was an instruction to all European banks that they had to open up their platforms to third-party providers like ourselves. So what does that mean? That means then that an SME's bank account can be linked to their accounting system. So you need a platform. So you need to become an AISP, which is an account information service provider. So you've got to go through a process with the Central Bank of Ireland to do that. Or alternatively, in our case, we partner with a company called Plaid, who have links with 11,000 banking institutions around the world, who had already done that with AIB, with Bank of Ireland, with Ulster Bank, with Revolut. And so we partner with them. It was quite a long process. And we've now integrated that link in BigRedCloud so that Jamie Heaslip SME can suck in all his payments, all his receipts from his bank account on a daily basis, and they automatically go into BigRedCloud and they get automatically reconciled.
So is that the secret sauce here, where it just everything gets streamlined, everything for a company. So if you're like, it's tough enough running a business, like it's unbelievable. Correct. You don't want to be chasing invoices, chasing statements, sending stuff out, waiting for checks to come in, whatever. You want it. This makes it all streamlined, online, instantaneous, relatively speaking, and essentially you can look it up on your phone.
Yeah, so we're freeing up the business owner's time, as I said earlier on, to get on what they're good at, which is running their business. And this is just making it even more efficient. That coupled with our purchase invoice importer, where they can ask their suppliers just to email the invoice directly into themselves. So accounts@jamie.com. The invoice comes in, automatically goes into BigRedCloud. It's processed. You're cutting down time, you're cutting down errors, and you're giving yourself more time in the business.
That is Marco Dwyer of the BigRedCloud Super Salesman. If Sage wants to contact you, where would they find you?
I'm Mark at BigRedCloud.com. Feel free. I'm on Twitter. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on. They won't be buying me, by the way. We're not up for sale. I'm interested in buying other companies. If there's anybody out there in our space, like payroll or HR or something like that, we'd be interested in talking to them.
Before we go, what is the end goal? What is the goal, Mark? Like, what would you ideal scenario 5 years for BigRedCloud?
I'd like to be in 5 to 10 of those countries we spoke about out of the 50.
Brilliant,
fantastic, great Irish success story, and he is now a Team GPS player, because you are now to back him and buy BigRedCloud. Sorry, one further.
Any Team GBS listeners out there will get a 10% discount on BigRedCloud.
Oh, we love it. We love it.
So you just need to mention Team GBS to my sales team when they contact you after you've taken out of your free trial.
Good man. Mark, as usual, thank you so much for joining us on ThatGreatBusinessShow.com.
ThatGreatBusinessShow.com is brought to you by De Facto Shaving Oil, the best anyone can get. Made in Ireland, sold worldwide.
We're hearing more and more stories every week about COVID and what it's doing to the mental health of those in business. And this week, therefore, we have one of our favourites with us. She is Dr. Jo. Dr. Jo is in the house. To give her full title, it's Dr. Jo Burke, Assistant Professor, NUI Maynooth, Specialist Subject, Positive Psychology. And we love her because there is no nonsense in what she says. Any insights she gives are peer-reviewed, fact-checked and fully tested for bull. Never a smell of that at the Great Business Show. Welcome to the Great Business Show, Dr. Jo.
Thank you very much for having me here.
I've always been
It's a
curious.
pleasure.
What is a no bullshit psychologist?
You're just going to find out, because I'm going to ask Dr. Jo about a study that you sent me that showed, apart from the amount of stress we are experiencing, our attitude towards it is absolutely crucial. People who think the stress is going to kill them will kill them. And those, well, okay, not all of them. Come on, I'm taking a headline here. 30%.
Higher likelihood, exactly.
And if you're positive about it and you can twist it around, it makes sense.
Spot on.
As they say, discuss.
Is that a little bit like, I'm going to probably get her name wrong, Amy Cuddy's fake it till you make it kind of thing? Her TED Talk, where
Absolutely.
that's my takeaway from it anyway. I'm sure there's a whole lot of science behind it. But does that play a lot of part into it?
Absolutely. So this is the self. I just got this is the self-fulfilling prophecy. Really, what it is. So if you believe that stress is bad for you, what happens is that you start behaving differently. And that's where the outcomes are different. So very often when we are scared of stress, what do you think we're doing?
Getting stressed.
Yeah, and what else are we doing? What do we do differently?
Just like going back to work, school.
I
Run
know.
away. I'm scared she's going to ask me a question. Run away.
Yeah, exactly. We run away from stress. We pretend that it doesn't exist. And as a result, we are even more stressed out because we know in the back of our minds that stress is there. Or
I
whatever
was right. I told you that you get more stressed if you're stressed by stress.
Yes,
So
that's true.
is that
But we're stressed about the potential of stress rather than the stress itself or what is causing us stress.
So does that, like, two things jump out in my mind, right? So straight away it's like, okay, what's your response to a situation? Is it fight? Is it fright? Or is it flight? Is that the same thing? I could be way off, and you're probably, the way you're looking at me now means I'm way off point, and I'm getting a D, probably an E on that one. And the second thing then is a thing that I would have used a lot in sport, is like you control, influence, accept. So what can you control? Okay, you do certain things. What can you influence? You do certain things. And then the outcome of a game, you just have to accept certain things, the outcome of a game, win, lose, whatever.
Yeah, and this is exactly the same with this particular concept. Wow. If we believe that stress is not so bad for us, we engage with it much more. So we don't run away from it in the sense of forgetting about it or sometimes drinking. Sometimes, you had a stressful day, and when we don't deal with stress very effectively, we try to escape by maybe having a glass of wine and forgetting about it temporarily. Yeah. So it's okay to distract ourselves, but not for too long. And when we properly engage with stress, we then try to figure out what is causing us stress, how to cope with it, how to control it, as you said, what we can do in order to take steps to reduce it at least, and we do something about it. Whereas when we're scared of stress, we just panic. And the less we deal with stressors, the more they pile up and cause us even more stress.
So does that mean you can't run away from it for good? So you will have to address it at some stage.
Some stage, exactly. And, I've worked with a lot of people who have actually experienced this attitude towards stress, that stress will kill me. When stressful events happen, they actually tense up. They don't want to do anything about it. And sometimes just bringing this to their attention, let's just face it and have a look at this just for 5 minutes. We don't have to deal with it for the next hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, just 5 minutes. And they start analyzing what is actually causing them stress. The whole problem seems to be going away quite quickly because they now know that they have some control over it. And that control could be just to take the first step of contacting someone to help them. And just doing this already reduces their stress. So the problem is when we don't do anything about it and just pretend it doesn't exist.
And are we talking about emotional stressors, physical stressors? And can you train yourself? And where I'm going with this is, cold exposure, heat exposure, training, all stress situations on the body. And you learn your body's a pretty cool thing. It can learn to adapt. But does that prepare you for emotional stress then? You know what I mean? So can you train yourself with physical stresses that will help you with emotional stress and vice versa?
physical versus, I'm not sure about this, the physical and emotional linkage.
Yeah.
I would have to take a look at the research. However, I agree with you about this stress inoculation, whereby we kind of get immune to stress, whereby the more stress we experience, but now moderate amount of stress, the more likely we are to deal with it more effectively, and we're not scared of it anymore. So just moderate amounts of stress is way better than even not experiencing stress at all, or very low levels of stress. People who experience low levels of stress are actually less happy, and they don't have this self-efficacy, which is that belief that I can do it, I can deal with whatever comes my way. They're also less resilient.
Really, I love this stuff. Now, I know, because we go back a bit, that you are brilliant on giving 3, 4, 5 tips about how to lower stress. And one of them that always comes to mind, and I did it when I first heard it from you, is to put photographs of the kids on the desk. Because you told me it is peer reviewed. This is not nut job stuff. This is real. It absolutely de-stresses you. Photographs of the kids on the... Oh,
there you go.
Jamie has little Harper on the desk in front of him.
And that's, for a lot of different reasons. But
yeah, that's very true. And there is a lot of research about this now. And the way this particular activity works is that it enhances looking at people we love enhances our positive emotions. And it is like this spark that we get from, even when we just get in touch with someone that we really like, and we get these lovely emotions just going all over our body. So this is exactly the same thing that happens when you look at somebody you love. The great positive emotions are just flooding us, and we feel better. And emotional resilience is actually helping us then cope with things more effectively.
That is tip number 1 from Dr. Jo. What is Dr. Jo's number 2 tip?
Well, I have to say that one of the best activities when you're experiencing a very stressful day is to write. And even people who have dyslexia, and I have worked with a client once who had dyslexia, and when I suggested it, she said, absolutely not. I'm not writing anything down. I said, just do it for yourself. Nobody else. Nobody's going to look at it, just yourself. You need to write down whatever is bothering you, whatever is on your mind. When we're experiencing negative thoughts, they have to come out somehow, be it through talking to someone or through writing. We need to express them. When we have positive thoughts, it's different.
Why is that? What is it in us?
I can tell you right now, you lose a game against Munster or England, you will be up at 3 a.m. unless you get that out of you.
And then when
just the emotional baggage around it.
And what do? Do you just rattle on about it?
Well, I'm laughing here because that's what I used to do.
Write it down.
Well, win or lose, I'd come off the field and I would do a quick emotional dump, put it on a page, like just in my change room area. And then the next day, I'll have looked at the game and I'll do my notes on it. And then you see kind of like an emotional response and a kind of technical response, I suppose. You see how different they are. You see how you weren't that bad or you weren't that great. And actually now, the way I apply that when I'm not playing is in the morning, I write out kind of like, for want of a better word, what your purpose is, what your kind of values are, things that are important to you, and then how you see a perfect day going or a good day going. And at the end of the day, you just write down how the day went. And thoughts and feelings and da-da-da-da-da.
And what do you do with all that paperwork?
It's just at home. It's only for me.
Yeah.
Sometimes I reflect back on it.
Dr. Jo, what do you think of the patient?
I
should get out of the chair.
All I can say is that research supports everything that you've just said. It is really beneficial to do all of these things. And what I would say is that when we have negative thoughts, it's better to throw them out. To get rid of them, not keep them or reread them over and over and over again, because they could actually upset you more. So if you have negative thoughts, just write them down and throw them away. Some of my colleagues who are therapists who deal with a lot of negative emotions, even just as a secondary trauma, in a secondary trauma situation, before they go home to their families, they would actually do the expressive writing activity to just let go of some of the things that they have heard.
Sorry, just on that, I just want to understand that. The therapists themselves dump that I was always interested in how they
baggage they would
handle. Bishop, like, it wouldn't be right trying to. No, that's really interesting. Sorry, Jimmy.
No,
you were saying-
I'm like, this is the coolest thing ever. Can you come in every week?
Yes, you can.
With pleasure.
So we're focusing a lot on the stressors, right? Just
Yes.
as a question, and your positive psychology, you said.
Well, this is just expressive writing. So just the deepest thoughts and feelings that you have. And now there are some twists, positive psychological twists as usual. And this is a writing, for example, about your best possible day. So this is what you're doing. Or this time next year, if everything went well, what would it be like? What would the world be like? Now keep that particular letter.
Well, that's a question I ask. I do coaching with people. And that's one of the things you do is like, okay, wave the magic wand. 10 years time, what's the ideal self? What does the ideal self look like? And then you get like, it's like when people remove their limiting beliefs or what inhibitions, it's amazing what comes out. Yeah. But it's very difficult. Do you find this? I don't know. Maybe it's Irish people. Do you find it difficult for them A, to express themselves, and B, not to get too carried away with themselves in terms of positive thinking?
Well, I think that firstly, if you actually talk to someone, they may feel inhibited to tell you their deepest thoughts and feelings, somewhat inhibited. So I would suggest that you would ask them to firstly write it down and then tell you about it, maybe as a coach. And what was the other question that you asked?
No, it's just like an Irishism. You know what I mean? Like Irish people tend, well, I don't know. My impression is we tend to keep ourselves very level and not allow ourselves to get too carried away with positive thinking.
And you asked if people go too far out.
Well, no, I'm asking, do you see, can you confirm or deny basically that interpretation or anecdotal kind of view I might have on Irish people?
I think that it's really great to dream. And I think the challenge that we sometimes have is that our dreams are not far out there enough. So we don't have these inspirational things to look forward to. So I think doing this activity is just part of the process. And just because you did this activity does not mean that you are going to make it happen. But what it will do for you is it will make your brain think that it is possible to happen. And as a result, you'll be able to tap into some of the skills and knowledge and just abilities that you never thought existed.
I will play for Ireland. Okay, no, that's just too far, is it?
You can still go with it.
So you can dream a dream, man. Dream a dream. You dream big there, kid, right? So I have so many questions. I'm literally leaning back in my seat because I have so many questions for you.
We will have Dr. Jo back again because
we're having back every week
because we are going to run out of time. So let's keep going with the tips. Tips. Three more tips.
Whatever you wish.
Give us 3 tips.
We have time. So this was tip number 2. So the first tip was the pictures. The second tip was expressive writing. Yeah. Another great tip, I think, in these times is gratitude. And gratitude is underestimated, I think, because we think to ourselves, sure, counting blessing. What's this?
You see? We're very grateful for you.
That's one of our previous guests gave Jamie a very nice hamper.
Yeah, you got one as well. You just don't want to say it because you don't want anyone at home to take it.
So we're very grateful. We're feeling the love.
Fantastic.
To Lismore.
Fantastic. But you know what's really great? When we're having a bad day and we're not getting these presents, and on these type of days, when we go home and start thinking about things that were actually okay, things that we are grateful for, despite a bad day, that's when we get the biggest boost of, I suppose we are able to see positive things that we never were able to see before. And it just gives us this boost of positive feelings and also brings us closer to people, because very often in these moments, there are always connections. There are always people that we're grateful to for something that they have done for us.
That's 3.
Okay.
4.
This is 3. And number 4, take time out. Just as simple as this.
What does that mean?
Just have some me time, especially during COVID. It's really challenging. We are so busy doing extra things, like maybe learning new skills, be it working online or setting up our website if you have a business. Or this is if it is a very new skill for you, it is very difficult. But try to consciously take some me time.
I have to ask you about this because I don't do that, because I love what I do. Am I allowed to? I indulge myself. I'll be on social all evening. I'll be reading first thing. I'll be reading Jamie's tweets first thing in the morning. I love what I do. So is that my me time?
If that's what you consider your me time, absolutely.
But it's also work.
But it's okay. You see, as long as Ian Robertson,
Dr. Joe.
Professor Ian Robertson from Trinity actually talked about stress being very similar to excitement. So sometimes we mistake our excitement for stress, and just saying it to ourselves, actually, this is excitement. That's why my heart is beating a little bit faster. It actually reduces the negative kind of effects of stress. But if you see it as exciting thing, then why not continue doing it?
I love this. Now, we are going to run out of time, so you better give number 5. But we will have you back. Don't worry.
I suppose another one is figuring out your priorities in life and figuring out what really matters. So sometimes we get bogged down on small things, on little daily hassles. And what's really important is to stop and rethink what is really important here. And often, again, these are the people in our lives, not the fact that somebody has screamed at us or we didn't get something. It's the bigger picture and then going back to what's really crucial. So figuring this one out is important. And there's a very easy activity that you can do, and it's available online. And it is kind of evidence-based because it's part of a quality of life therapy as one of the activities, and it's called the Wheel of Life.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Wow.
And just your listeners could just perhaps Google it, and all these instructions are there.
The Wheel of Life.
The Wheel of Life.
You want it nice and smooth. You want those edges smooth.
All right, I'm going to do that. And I'll talk to you, Jamie, about it next week. Dr. Joe, will you come back to us?
With pleasure.
Please do.
We love you, and I've always enjoyed your chats. And again, all of it is real, because she is not anybody. She's Dr. Jo Burke, assistant professor. I think we have to make you the full professor. And she's down NUI Maynooth is where you will find her. Jo, thanks so much as usual.
Thank you.
That is it for episode 8 of That Great Business Show. Thanks as usual to our super sound engineer, Alison O'Dwyer, and master editor, Peter Rice, both of the Dublin South FM podcast studios. They help make the podcast very different, we think. We're changing our visuals and logos, so a big thank you to the team down at Ringers Creative as well. That's Steve Mangan and Bobby Byrne. Wait to see, you are going to be pretty in pink next week. And you can listen back to Bobby's story about doing business down in New Zealand on, I think, episode 1. And of course, you, our listeners, please get anyone in business to subscribe. You'll be doing them a favor. I'm sure Dr. Joe will tell you that you're doing them a big favor by giving them an hour of business positivity every week. Finally, if you know a business or even own a business that should star on That Great Business Show, go to the website. To the bottom of the homepage, you'll see Join Team GBS, and you'll find out exactly what we're looking for in our guest lineup. Remember, I think we're like a Patrick Guibaud's restaurant. We only serve you the best. Isn't that right? Jamie, the last word.
You always catch me out at the end with your phrase. I'm just in a positive mood now, off the back of Dr. Joe here. Nothing can get me down, baby.
Happy Jamie. There you go, Joe. You've made a very happy Jamie.
I'm delighted.
Thanks so much for joining us on That Great Business Show. Back again